we had a nice opportunity to kind of settle things down and get off of spring break, but now it's time to spring back into some matches in time for the LCQ here in Collegiate COD. My name is McCormiel. With me, as always, is Cash. Alabama, Huntsville, Ole Miss Esports, our first match up here tonight. But the most important thing, Amber, is that we finally have moved into the LCQ. It's time for the postseason of College COD.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year. So excited to get into the playoff portion of things. And again, nothing's more exciting than I mean, the playoffs are fun. It's a good time getting to land, anything like that. But it all starts with LCQ, and who, in a situation where it's win or go home, really can make quite the run. And all of that kicks off here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are just joining us here for the first time, we did play out our entire, I believe, 8 or 9 week season of Collegiate COD already, which has led us up to the point now of getting into the part where the teams that were in the bottom tier of D2 in the open division now are going to be fighting for the last few playoff spots in each of the specific regions. Before we get into the actual formatting of our LCQ, a few key important dates to kind of just keep note of in the back of your mind of where we'll be going in the next few weeks of Collegiate COD after this week is over. April 10th, or the week of April 10th, that's next week, we will have a bye week, so there will be no College COD action next week. But then after that, the Academy Finals kick off on April 17th, and then the week of the 22nd is when the regional playoffs will take place, all leading up to our LAN qualifier on April 29th. But just talking about the LCQ's format here foremost, for the two teams and really all the teams that will be playing here tonight and tomorrow, each region, 4 regions in the CCL, I'm sure you all know by now, are going to be split up into 8 groups of 3. Within those 8 groups, all 3 teams will be playing a round robin against one another, and the team that has the best record out of those 3 teams will then move on into one of the qualification spots for that region. So in each region, obviously with 8 groups, 8 different playoff spots are up for grabs, which will then pair up with the rest of the teams from around the rest of the Collegiate COD scene. Just talking about things though, Amber, formatting wise this year, I'm kind of in love with it, not gonna lie.
No, I am too. I like seeing, of course, there's 8 spots up for grabs, and like you said, it feels like with there just being 3 teams in each group, it just feels like there's that much heightened pressure where you're never not in it, and like it's, again, whenever you see like 6 or more teams or it's split up this, that, and the other, you do bigger round robins, in a sense, you're like, oh, if we lose 2 rounds early, it's like this one is just like, you really just, each match matters. You're only playing a couple, just to really dictate if you get a playoff spot. So yeah, I really like the format of it. I love how much shine it puts on just kind of smaller groups of teams at the time to say, all right, it's a 1v1v1, duke it out, and who's gonna come out on top, who's gonna be the better team. So really excited to see how kind of these groups pan out and who really can punch their ticket for that qualifying spot.
Yeah, this year specifically, we had, more teams than ever inside of Collegiate COD, which is, kind of why we had to not only take the route of going through the different processes of D1 and D2, but then having this LCQ be an expanded format of what we normally have with just bracket play. But while everything kind of settles down in the background, before we start really kicking it into high gear with a few more matches that we have here tonight, we're going to send things over to Proper with the After Action Report. It's always great to see Andy's beautiful face on a Monday night, but it's even better to be able to finally have ourselves here to be able to talk about not only the rest of the matchups here tonight, but our new and improved top 25. That's right, a new week comes through, and that means we've got another switch up in the rankings at the top, but of course, the top, 7 spots don't really move whatsoever. Northwood, not much of a surprise that they haven't changed. Oklahoma Christian Fisher, UONA, Mars Hill, St. Clair, and Texas State will round out our top 7. That's our no changes. St. Edwards, though, they move up. New Mexico, obviously, after that very close series that they played against Longhorn, will obviously drop them down just a bit. But they're still tough. They're still a team at the top. And a lot of those other movements around have been great. Florida Gulf Coast, a shout-out. Southwest Florida, W, up into 17th. Div 2 team that's making waves late here in the season. It was surprising not seeing them inside of D1, but Captain Kirchie will tell you it's just a fluke.
Absolutely so. And I mean, again, a lot of the movement, like you're saying, in this bottom 10, 7 teams, with the ability to move up here in the bottom 10 portion of the top 25. So again, lots of movement to be had, and a really exciting week that we had for CCL. You shouted out Florida Gulf Coast. I'm going to hit you with the Buckeye COD. That's just how we roll. Akron Zips. I see my high schools in there.
But they're not undefeated, are they? So,
no, okay,
Ohio L yet again, regardless. For the schedule of matches here tonight, if you weren't around during the intro graphic, Alabama Huntsville, Ole Miss Esports is what we'll start first. Then we have, after that, we're going to be sliding into Rochester Institute of Technology versus Army West Point, and then Bowling Green State will take on Stockton Esports at the end of the night in our last slated matchup. Without further ado, let's get into our main match, Alabama Huntsville, Ole Miss Esports. We'll start off with the Alabama roster, take you through them and see what's good. Pinecone, Nokio, and of course, Yoingi, and J-Man. I'm going to love saying Yoingi. I'm going to level with you guys. That is going to be probably the most fun name that I'll say on broadcast. That kind of rivals Fire Truck Boy. Let's see, Doja Cat Fan. She loves Aiden. What other names have there been in the past in the CDL? Doja Cat Fan.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on.
No, it really does. I'm actually excited to hear you say Yoingi the entire night. So it's gonna be a good time. Good night to have you as my duo for this one. It's gonna be an exciting one to get into. But I mean, looking at the tenure of these squads, again, tenured as far as collegiate grades go, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that they've played with each other all 4 years, of course, but a more veteran seasoned squad at that, and hopefully for them tonight, and given their records and what we know of them, that comes together in quite the cohesion form.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Bama Huntsville, if we are going to be talking about in the general scheming of things, of how things went down in the Open Division, since this is an Open Division team, they were probably one of the kind of top cuts of that Open Division, at least for their region. Only dropping a map on the year definitely helps out this team in the long run. But, they're going up against a struggling Ole Miss roster who we'll take a look at next. This team comes into this one not in the greatest standpoint inside of Division II, and realistically speaking, I don't really know how they're going to fare up against this Alabama Huntsville roster because, a 1-10 record on the season, Cash, doesn't really fare all that well, does it?
No, not at all. And again, you bring up the interesting point of, okay, it's one of the top cut teams in Open Division, one of the bottom echelon type teams in D2. So you might think at first glance like, oh, this could be closer than you realize, but you also got to think back. Even it's crazy that it's already been a full season since we've talked about it, but you were only one series separating you between Division 1 and Division 2 at times, right? So again, a lot of these teams might stand to fare a bit differently, in kind of these stats columns as we go on, but it'll just be exciting to dive into the action. And as you said best, though, you win one match, 4 total maps on the season. And yeah, you don't feel all that great about it, but I mean, again, you never know until we get to see him here. We'll look at the actual head-to-head, and no, it's not right. Not good at all. To be honest, I mean, you're undefeated in Control. You only have 2 losses in Search and Destroy and Hardpoint, respectively, for Alabama Huntsville, and then, of course, on the other side for Ole Miss, as we were talking, they have. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, the 4 map wins and Search and Destroy. It feels weird saying Search is technically their best mode, right? Like, there's not too many ways as an analyst I can dice this up in a pretty fashion. I can't. Not Bob Ross. I can't paint that good of a picture. So, for Ole Miss, it's definitely going to be hard work cut out for you. What can you do here? And again, this is when it matters most, right? You can literally wipe away your entire season with a good playoff run here. So if there's something to say for Ole Miss, it's definitely that. Take this as a fresh start.
100%. And like, again, to put things into perspective, Alabama Huntsville does come out as an Open Division team. And, again, having to place through those things, it doesn't mean it's set in stone, like the best teams are D1, best teams D2, and then like the worst teams are Open Division. But a 10-1 record compared to a 1-10 record, even against D2 teams for Ole Miss, with that caveat in there, still doesn't bode all that well. Fortress for map 1, Fortress for map 2, El Asilo for the Control, and if necessary, we'll go to an Embassy Inn hotel to close things out. But in the grand scheme of a series, that Alabama Huntsville team comes in hungry and determined as an underdog to be able to take Ole Miss out from their D2 placing and put them potentially in a non-qualification spot for the playoffs. That does kind of carry the cake here when we talk about storylines heading into this best of 5 series. We'll take a look at the groups here real quick too. Just kind of show you the teams inside of this division. Howard Esports, the outlier here that's not between Alabama Huntsville and Ole Miss. But neither of the teams, any of the teams really have played each other just yet. So this will be the first of the round robin portion. And if you weren't here at top of show, the way it works is there are 8 different groups split up between all of the different regions. And then inside of those different groups, there are 3 individual teams, as you can see there at the bottom. The team that fares with the best record, and if it has to go to a tiebreaker, that also factor in map count, will then take the 1 playoff spot spot from each group that is available for each specific region. Regardless, Fortress map number 1. Yoingy Zoingy on screen. Good shots there. Won't be able to walk away with the kill, but Peppers one up. Ole Miss, they're going to be into the middle of the map, but it's Alabama Huntsville who strike first at P1.
Playoffs start now, and every win matters, as you said, of those groups of 3. So both teams looking to get off to the best foot possible here inside this map, let alone this series. And Alabama Huntsville going to kick things off with some good time on P1, trying to maintain P2 control, left-hand side of the spawn. If this isn't your first rodeo, well, just know they're trying to hold on that left-hand side of the map. And if you've been around for a bit, Huntsville off to about the best start they could have.
Yeah, that Nokio might be able to walk away with a 3rd kill there inside of P1 to hold down the majority of the time. Problem was, ran out of ammo before he was able to take that last player off the board. Scheming in the back line, will be able to find 3 players. Unfortunately, he won't be able to get his gun up in time to shoot any of them. 10 seconds left in rotation over towards P2. Alabama Huntsville, who took the majority of the time on P1, will be set up early for an initial rotation.
Couple kills come in the back from Mensa, though, so that's at least going to make spawns interesting. You're going to get the stable one coming in for Pinecone, so you have to rotate back through from the front, though the new hill is popped in, you're holding it. Ole Miss can flood through the back. Zoingy going to connect for 1 and just try to keep the bay here on staircase, connects for another before Frosty's able to get the trade, but you're winning the gunfights, you're holding from the front in tow. Ole Miss are pinned on this backside spawn.
On J-Man's got a nice little flank going for himself as well. If he can hop out the window, he's got 2 free kills for him on the staircase. There's 1, but his teammate's able to pop for the 2nd. All the time here, 25 seconds of it has gone Alabama Huntsville's way. Ole Miss is still continuing to try to fight from the outside, but every time they get a player towards the hill or a toe inside, they've been shut down. Pinecone's going to be the man here now, out of the doorway. One's going to challenge, the second one's there, but finally, for the first time, after about 40 seconds goes by, Ole Miss will finally have themselves in P2.
I do like that Ole Miss is looking to try to get out to rotate, even though Yoingy Zoingy finds a couple of them coming out of close. They had the idea of, okay, soak time, we're going to try to push through, because you know Huntsville's going to be rotating. Zoingy, though, on a spree of his own, 3 of a row as they are playing just that much more aware, already locking down P3 here. It looks to pop, doubled up in the scoreline, essentially. And now for Ole Miss, they're asked once again to break on what could be a full 60 for Huntsville.
Corner row for Zoingod. Nokio, beautiful drop shot there. 3rd will line up for him. That's a beautiful triple kill. Now, once again, allow Alabama Huntsville to get the majority of the initial time. Yoingy Zoingy now streaks in the back pocket. Cruise missile to work with, and that AR is locking everything down over by the statue side for the P3 entrance. Mensa trying to make his way in through the double doors. Hipfire shots are going to be good for the final tick of progress, and now as Pinecone is going to be on the hill. Mensa, once again, will be looking to push forward. Won't be able to find it. Pinecone goes ahead and gets himself a 3-piece of his own.
Hey, yeah, everyone walking out here with 3-piece combos now to get their way across 4P4. Still 20 seconds left, but I mean, if you're Ole Miss, you cannot go back and contest this. The spawns end up flipping and you go map. You're still not going to go for time. You know how important this rotation is and that you need points on the board. As Alabama Huntsville looking to try to get over this 100-point mark. Really, Zoingy is the only player in the back, streak in the back pocket with the potential to double up here as he's continuing to fry in this one out to triple positive. Also, this new hill looks to pop, and Ole Miss once again on the outside looking in.
Yoingy Zoingy might be God. No troll. Scheming top. Looking to drop down. Finally, we'll find Yoingy Zoingy inside of the hill, but he's 16-6 here in the map. You look to the opposite side, displaying numbers not there. 3 players stuck at 7. You got Mixamp at 2 and 11. But if you turn that around, Fortress is a very slay-heavy map. So if you're able to get that, start to work the map in your favor, you can really get some points on the board, make your way back into a more manageable game for yourselves. Frosty through the front door. J-Man's going to be there. Lay down drop shot, snakes the head glitch as well. As everybody from Alabama Huntsville is now starting to push their way out towards the rest of the map. Ole Miss, they're just struggling to get any sort of map presence and control.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like players taking like 1v1s. I thought if Pinecone walked over with that one, I might have lost it there for another second. But really, everyone aware on the map of, you know, these spawns and where they're coming in for Ole Miss, where they need to be looking to try to play cutoffs. And Ole Miss just cannot get any kind of footing or life in this one here. P5 could be a decent chance for them to spawn going into another set of rotations. I mean, for how slaying heavy Alabama is playing right now, Ole Miss, they're only down by 90 points. I know that's not that bad, but I mean, how often, again, we talked the P2 to P3 rotation here on Fortress specifically. I haven't seen enough out of Ole Miss to say that they'd be able to do that, but they're by no means completely out of this game. Alabama haven't completely obliterated the scoreline yet. Maybe with a couple more hills they could, but again, this was really that kind of last moment you can call on Ole Miss to turn things around before Huntsville walk away with that chance.
Yeah, Nokio had spawned up in the back, made a heads-up play to get in towards the point. Unfortunate that he throws the Semtex there, gets killed with the trophy, so that left the hill vacated for just a moment. 15 seconds pass by, but Ole Miss is able to get back in following a 3-piece that they're able to get themselves from a few key players. Pinecone, though, will go ahead, knock things up, find himself a kill on the board. Everybody has still left this hill vacated. These last 10 seconds are going to be crucial. And it's just a hop, skip, and a jump throughout the middle of the map to get to the second set of rotations. P1 about to pop here in just a moment. Menza at 8 and 14, looking to be the first one here. J-Man will be his first victim.
Getting a couple of good eyes on players, and I think more importantly for Ole Miss, they didn't walk away with a significant amount of time on P5. They did win some good gunfights there, and they're playing well as a team right now. I mean, collectively with 7 kills as a squad in a row. Alabama Huntsville fighting from this right-hand side of the map. They're starting to garner some time, so now what was a 100-point deficit getting chopped down slowly but surely to 60 or so seconds. More kills going the way of Ole Miss before Pinecone gets the last one for now. He's able to lock down a bit of time for his team, but like I said, if this is the point where Ole Miss looks to battle back, they're still very much in this one.
Has good trade opportunities here. 30 seconds left on the hill, so this is going to give at least Alabama Huntsville an opportunity to maybe play for that rotation back over towards the left side of the map for P2. But if Ole Miss are able to keep this slaying up, keep Alabama Huntsville trapped on the right side of the map, things could get interesting very quickly. Nokio, though, off-screen engagement now versus Mensa on-screen. He'll turn away with a pistol in hand, runs 4 HP, still left alive, has a cruise missile to work with, though. And now as he's able to reposition himself over towards Nokio, Nokio will be able to pop for a second, get security of the left side of the map, and P2 should be theirs with all those white arrows starting to fester around the hill.
Yeah, I don't like how Ole Miss is playing this right now. They're very spread, and I know they're trying to work a couple of picks. You're also investing the streak here, but a lot of pressure on Frosty to stay alive. The streak does connect, 3 go down in the feed, so as much as I didn't really like that push, it ends up panning out for them for now. Spawn still close for Huntsville, but Ole Miss need to try to hold on here with the pinch.
They're going to be split spawns, though, on the opposite side of the map, as close as they did spawn in the back line. Frosty will try to chase on one. Nokia will turn around, but won't be able to get the good timing. 100-point mark cross for Ole Miss, and now it's just a 50-point game. Through the front, though, JMN, nice little wall bang shots are going to be good through the double of the doors, and Yoengi's there at top part to be able to find himself a trade. Mixamp inside of the hill, the only one here, but the spawns once again close for Ole Miss, so they still have tons of pressure here at the hill, and Alabama Huntsman, Huntsville, they're going to opt to give this one up and play for P3.
Back 15 will go the way of Huntsville, like you said, and now they're going to look to set up for P3 and extend this lead. Still be about 40 points. If Ole Miss had gone to the rest of it, could have been a 20-point game, but again, still manageable for them here. They've got to get a break early on P3, though. Otherwise, Alabama Huntsville could put this one away.
As close as a game this is, you know, and as much as the score lines have started to run up here, it's felt like a pretty quick hard point, all things considered, especially with Yoengi being the top slaying leader for both teams. 26 and 16 has continued to keep the pressure on the opposition, but now the rest of the team has also had a tall task to do as well. As Yoengi will now make his way over towards the left side. First kill goes to Ole Miss. What is in the door now? As Nokio's on 4 in a row, will hop up, has to force to lay down. Now another player in a gunfight will come over towards the hard point. Contestant in, J-Man there, trade back and forth, but it's a 3-1 that goes Ole Miss's way. They'll be able to break in for the back 25.
This will put them at about 155 going into P4, but you can see Alabama Huntsville still putting pressure on this. They don't want this time to go completely the way of Ole Miss. They're going to try to get out for this rotation. Everyone for Ole Miss spawning stables, now trying to work across the map, trades back and forth, but these gunfights matter now more than ever as Ole Miss have clawed their way back into this one the best they can. It's always going to rely on another break as they have yet to be able to get out on rotation. Alabama Huntsville, they're in. Everyone for Ole Miss grouped up outside trying to get the opening.
Oh, that's such a difficult gunfight. You have to take that if you are Frosty. But Pinecone able to win the 1v1 in the backside spawns for control of inside of Art. Mensa up top, Yoengi, the first victim, once again has to be forced to back off. Sun checks over towards the right side doorway. Contestant in the hill. Nokio will be able to find one around the back line. Now the Pinecone's being chased down by Mensa. That should clear things out and allow Ole Miss inside of Art, and it will. Player inside of the hill. 35 seconds left. Mensa up the staircase yet again on the chase. Doesn't realize where the player left. But Alabama Huntsville now have got themselves the advantage yet again.
Still finding a way to battle into this one. Everyone back and forth goes to kill feed until Alabama Huntsville look to get control. Now looking to finish running up the score line. Close this one out with 20 seconds left. They'll be just below that 240 mark. 10 or so seconds left needed on P5. And for Ole Miss, you tried to battle back where you could, but the way they were able to chain the majority of P3 to the majority of P4 simply put this one out of reach. You tried to battle back where you could. Frosty, maybe the closest one to positive here, along with Mensa doing a decent performance. But like you had said, Yoengi in takeover mode, Pinecone stepping things up as well. The ARs have really shown up.
100%. I mean, it's not entirely over either. Ole Miss, you know, all it takes here, 60-second hill, albeit a very scrappy hill. But, you know, you get the majority of time here. You maybe start working over on a rotation. You just can't allow Alabama Huntsville to once again dominate in the slaying department, which they've already done here early on in this hill. 3-2 trade. Ole Miss now left. Last one here is going to be scheming. Nokio outside the door is going to be at least good for one, but Frosty's there for an immediate trade. 35 seconds now left on the hill. Double doors now being watched from all of the Ole Miss players. And this is a spawn trap that you can start to set up with if you're Ole Miss. You control the middle of the map. These next 2 hard points could very easily be yours.
Definitely so, but the spawn out comes in, a couple players in the back line, so now you've got to play the split spawn as Yoing's finds a couple. You're still trying to push through mid, but he lines up the third. Can he find the fourth? Answer. Answer just about, but no kill good on the trade, and now with 10 seconds left, they can still win it here, but with that final kill coming in, no longer going to be able to get it. They have to rotate to P1. J-Man already here on rotation.
Yeah, Ole Miss could have held down that hill, but they decided to rotate their forces over to P1. Fortunately, though, Alabama Huntsville have done exactly the same thing. 8 seconds left to take map 1 here. J-Man snaps over to the left. Mixam good for 2. Nokio with a nice little trade there, and this allows Alabama Huntsville to have the man advantage here yet again. Flank now in from Skeeman, who's able to find one, but once again, Nokio is the man who's able to shut it down. 1 second is all the side of Alabama Huntsville will need to take map 1. Ole Miss still trying to hold things out from the front, but as Yoingi's now at 37, almost at a 40 bomb. Frosty forced to look in multiple directions. High prone, cross, Frosty there, and now it's a 1 versus 1 at the hill. Ole Miss still going to be able to stay here as the spawns in the back on the right side of the map are in for Alabama.
Oh, and they're a little bit everywhere now. One goes P3, the other 3 spawn behind you, so they turn, try to get behind enemy lines. You take care of the one in front of you, but how quickly can you get spun around for these fights?
It's going to be pretty much null and void here. Yoingi's able to snap for the last 2, and that will be the dagger. Not exactly sure if he got to the 40 bomb. It might have been 39, but regardless, Yoingi goes big in map 1, leads Alabama Huntsville and the lobby in the slaying department, and is a crucial reason why they were able to take with the first hard point by 45 points and give them a 1-0 lead in the series.
Yeah, I think he definitely hit 40. 42 and 24.
There it is.
Not too bad to kick things off with the series. Pretty shots. I mean, it was just a great series from the team collectively. Pinecone not only at 28-22, but with over 2 minutes of hill time also. Really, really strong showing out of Alabama Huntsville here in map 1. And I mean, we stay on Fortress 4, the search and destroy also. But interesting because Ole Miss definitely battled back. You would think if they didn't go down 100 points, at the start of the game, that again, that would have been any amount easier for them.
Sure.
But you come out, again, if we haven't stressed it up at any point or any time in years past, it's playoff season. You don't get to come out slow and expect to take maps off of teams, plain and simple. I mean, that's just the competition we're at. That's just the part of the season that we're at. So, again, if you come out slow and go down 100 points, expect to, lose by a margin, something similar to that, or even if you battle back, know that's always in the back of your mind that had we gone down any less points, could have been an easier feat for us to pull off. So, again, Alabama Huntsville get out to the early lead, make Ole Miss pay for it, and walk away with a good map 1 victory.
Yeah, and our storyline coming into this was like, okay, open team did really good, D2 team did really bad. And the discrepancy there was, what is the differential in power between a top open team and a bottom D2 team? And we got to see at least a little glimpse of that there. Alabama Huntsville looked to be in control when it comes to the slaying department, but being able to not only get out early on rotations, but hold lanes down effectively. Ole Miss, kind of to your point that you made in the map earlier, they just looked kind of discombobulated. It was a lot of 1v1 pushes. It was a lot of just like, I'm going to try and solo hit this out. And there was glimpses of when they were good. They had really good, solid plays. But again, that needs to be something that is canonical over an entire game, opposed to it being a glimpse here and a glimpse there. So I think that these two teams are pretty evenly matched up, at least where the hard point in the respawn is concerned. But a relatively quick feeling hard point there in map 1 definitely gives me a good taste for some of these open teams coming out of their division to be able to take down a D2 team and really start to be able to make an underdog playoff Cinderella push.
Absolutely the case. I mean, Alabama Huntsville, I mean, to get you, Yogi gets out to the slaying performance he does, 33 non-traded kills. I mean, no one on your team had 33 kills, let alone non-traded. So, again, you look at the slaying and how much that impacted things as well, how hot of a start players get off to. It all factors and it all snowballs at this point. But like you said, you're feeling good about how these open teams can fare. I mean, we've got a couple more tonight as well. So that's only going to make me excited to see more of these matchups. But we still have this whole series in front of us. And Ole Miss, I mean, it's your turn to respond. And look, I'll say it. On paper, it's their best mode, search and destroy. 2 and 8, I take that for what you want. They have more than one map, win on that mode. They can't say that about their respawns. And not to paint it in the sense of, oh, this is their must win if they want to stay alive in this series. Because again, you said, and I agreed, they played the respawn, at least this first one, fairly evenly matched. It's again, if they get off to any better start, I think we even have a closer score line, and that's still a 45-point score line. So search and destroy is something where you can kind of go round by round, take a breath, figure out what you need to do. It's a lot of these teams, especially in the postseason, it comes down to how willing are you to make adjustments sooner rather than later, right? Not only it's one thing to be willing to be making an adjustment, but I mean, if it's 240 to 130 and you're like, all right, let's make a change, again, how willing are you, to pull that trigger early on when necessary, make the change and say, let's just try it, let's just see. Obviously, I mean, again, at this point in the season, right, 2-3 rounds in, you should definitely be saying, okay, let's make a change. You got 2 rounds sounds early in a surge, but really you don't get, how quickly can they rip off 2 more rounds and you're sitting down the barrel of a 4-0 and potentially 6-0, something like that. So being willing to say as a team, all right, first couple rounds, we got one look at either side of the bomb, not quite working for us. What can we do to set ourselves up for more success the next offense or the next defense? And I think to see really what this Ole Miss team is made of, this search will be very telling of if they're able to have good comms, make those adjustments when necessary, and come out strong against this team where they fell in map 1.
Yeah, well, I think a good point to kind of like just bring up against that too is like, at least for Ole Miss's sake, we did get to see that, in a variety of ways in the hard point when they did start to make that comeback. And at the tail end there, Alabama, Huntsville, they were probably just trying to throw bodies at the hill, but that really doesn't matter all that much. We'll talk about that a bit more later on. Yoingi get the first one pushed up forward, but Scheming will find a first blood for Ole Miss. So a nice little change of pace here. At least starts out well in the first round of the search and destroy here, but as quickly as things went good, they all turned bad. Nokia was able to find 1-2-2 now as we go. 25 seconds off the clock already. Pinecone, Nokia left alive against Mensa and Mixam.
And the spawn seemingly flipped around now. Mensa trying to find his gunfight and just snaps a bit too high. Nokia with the good shots there for the headshot now. A 2v1. Alabama Huntsville got blooded, have since responded in a big way, and now just 1 kill away from taking this round, but Mixam gets good eyes. Not good enough shots.
Yeah, especially at range there with that AR, would have loved to see him be able to walk away, take that gunfight win. The problem is being able to, play that corner, have the cover from the left and the right side. It's great if you're trying to catch somebody off guard coming down the staircase from the left. It's a lot worse, though, when you're trying to fight somebody who has a head glitch and movement capabilities with them as well. So had the right idea, just didn't play it to the best of his abilities. And, of course, that gives Alabama Huntsville the 1-0 lead here in the search and destroy. Nokio, though, 3-0 to start things off. 3 in the round there after Yoinki Zoingi, unfortunately, to get picked by being a bit too aggressive over on the A site. Big Sample toss a nade out over towards the left side, force Pinecone to back off, but the defense has gotten themselves festered over in the A site. This will allow at least a nade to get a hit onto Pinecone. First blood on the board. Ole Miss will take it.
Another first blood in the round, but Nokio quick on the trade, and J-Man, it would also get another one as well. So Nokio out to 4 in a row just through a round and a half, and again, their ability to trade after that first blood has come through so important. And Nokio with the sniper as well. Going to be interesting to see how long he continues to play with that or how effective he can look to be. But already with the kill, forcing Ole Miss to wrap through, look to play another angle and find some kills mid-map. But they're going to have to scoop this bomb sooner or later with 45 seconds left.
And you can see Yoingi has every bit of information in the world that he could want. Mensa forced to back off with only 12 HP. And now Alabama Huntsville, they have the information and they know that the bomb is probably stuck down over at this A site. They've rotated, forced all their attention towards the middle of the map. But unfortunately, this is going to allow Frosty to get right up close to that A-bomb site. Will Yoingi get some good timing? The answer, yes. Shots in the legs are going to be good. Mensa's able to pick off one in middle map. That'll be a trade onto Yoingi. 1v2 has to isolate some gunfights, but can't get the bomb down to start working with it. And Alabama Huntsville, they've turned all the way around, but will Mensa get the good timing here? It looks like Nokio might be able to spot him out from the back. Sniper shot is going to be good. Boomstick is available and ready to be used. Alabama Huntsville, once again, another round where they get a first blood taken off of them, but are able to clutch up and win in 3v4.
And that's the exact point I was going to bring up. To me, this is the point where you make a change. And the glaringly obvious pain point for Ole Miss right now is we've been getting the first blood. Cool. We get blooded 2 lives immediately after. So again, you're looking to say, get the first blood and get out. Find a way to keep your life. Don't get over aggressive after we find that first blood because it's constantly put us in a bind. Nokio's won off of finding streaks also just through 2 rounds. So again, I'm interested to see if you're going to get aggressive for the first blood, find a way to keep your life after. So Ole Miss are looking to get aggressive through mid.
Nokio, who's already on 5 in a row, will be able to get some good timing onto Frosty. That'll give a streak to use to Alabama Huntsville. Nokio's S&D continues to flourish over towards the left. He's got 7. Looking for number 8. Salt snaps to the right, looks for the shots, won't be able to find it. Finally, somebody from Ole Miss was able to shut down Nokio, but he has been the 2-piece machine throughout the entire series so far. Pinecone overlooking the truck over by where P1 is, but once again, Alabama Huntsville, man advantage with a 3v2.
And that's just a smart call to say, go get the bomb down. At least one player is P1. You're going to, at least if you're playing together, roll the dice that you can take the gunfight on the site if need be. Now these players were almost split once again, which last time they were split ended up Yoingi with the other on the other side of the map, and Alabama Huntsville are cruising in the Search and Destroy 3.
I'm gonna be honest, Pinecone probably shouldn't have walked away with a gunfight in top part there, but
team shots. Okay, I didn't realize Yoingi got damage.
Yeah, that's
that
a
makes it
good shout, because I thought he got melted ridiculously quickly. I was about to say that's just a ping diff classic, but no, it was just good team play out of Alabama Huntsville. So 3 straight rounds. This is where we start to see that snowball effect starting, exactly what Cash was alluding to in her whole little ordeal before this map started, and for good reason, because this is where we find ourselves now. Another minute and 30 on the clock here as another round starts to progress. Bomb trying to work its way over towards the A site. Nokia will be looking towards the left side of P1 with the sniper in hand. Not able to find anything just yet, but here comes a streak over the top. This is going to be great information for Alabama Huntsville. It is going to force Ole Miss to play this in a precarious way. Streak going to be able to find not one, but 2. J-Man on the opposite side of the map. This is looking like deja vu round after round as Nokia has been on a tear the Search and Destroy. 1 versus 4 here from Frosty. He's got information on at least one player, but unfortunately the door is closed there, and he now has to isolate a 1v1 in a different part of the map.
And we're just gonna have to talk about the streak. I mean, no one flinched on Ole Miss. I thought with them sitting there, I was like, a trophy's down or
gotta be
something,
there, right?
Right? Yeah, gotta be there. No way you're gonna get 2-piece on back steps with the Cruise, but they did. So, yeah, 1v4, like you were saying, and it's been the same thing. The entirety of the Search get picked, be it a significant man disadvantage, and play isolated from each other, or be forced to play isolated in a 1v odd situation. It's just completely discombobulated. It's like the start of the hard point, but running rampant throughout the Search. It's just we haven't seen the change. And would you look at that? It's you're looking at the barrel of a 4-0 here already.
See the streak one more time here from over the top. There actually was a trophy system down there.
Okay.
I don't know if something might have happened to where the trophy system got set off by like a nade or a stun or something like that, and then wasn't able to be like using like a cooldown or something. I don't even know if that's how the trophy system works, to be completely honest. That's just my copium for Ole Miss hitting hard, but J-Man on 3-1. Nokia at 9-1 here in the Search and Destroy, once again leading the lobby. It's an Alabama Huntsville player being able to outslay the opponents. Donut watch, a double donut actually for Mixamp and Frosty. As Mixamp will hop into the window, well, there's another chance for a kill off the board. He's at 0-5, and well, same could be said for Frosty. Looks like they're doing it out through this Fortress Search and Destroy.
Scheming. Not doing much of that here on this map. Trying to get anything going, but Nokia gonna knock him down, and Alabama Huntsville continue to cruise in this Search. It's been, it's been eclectic. I mean, what else? What else can you say? The missile, yeah, that who. I'm glad to see you got a trophy down. That was I had to make sure. So shout out Replay Ops and the amazing stuff that they get us. We love those guys.
I'll say this, when you were talking about like the 6-0 thing, I was like, oh, surely that's not going to happen.
I was also thinking, surely not.
Yeah. Again, D2 versus an open team. We probably expected this to go a little bit different, but after seeing the 1-10 record on the season for Ole Miss, I don't know if anybody is completely shocked by the outcome that we've seen so far, but the hard point was definitely closer than a 5-0 Search and Destroy. Will need to be a full sale for Ole Miss to be able to come back from this one. 15 seconds at an impasse here on the round. Bomb has not worked its way over towards the A or the B site. You see Ole Miss are trying to get some work into the middle of the map to maybe bring the bomb towards the B site, but Alabama Huntsville, they're keen into this. Yoingi with a sniper will just be looking over towards the right side of the site, and Ole Miss is effectively trapped, but they at least have a little bit of map control for themselves. And peekaboo, Yoingi, little snipe shot, first blood, and Pinecone will tackle in a second.
It just feels like when they kill, it just feels like 1v1s, and simply put, Alabama, they're not losing them. Now a 2v4. Defensively, Alabama Huntsville have given the same look every round. They heavy stack hay bales, open and closed. Keep an eye on mid-map crawls, whether it be Yoingi with the sniper, or Nokia getting loose and finding openings. And again, Ole Miss playing disconnected once again. You're going to have someone trying to put the bomb down. No teammate cover. Now you look to get into play, but with the time dwindling, I mean, it's just a situation I'd like to be in.
And J-Man said, how about you just hop off that bomb there for me? Frosty 1v1 finally gets his second kill in the game. They get on the board for the first time here in this round, but with 10 seconds left, he's going to be forced to plant over here at A, and while the last haunting player from Alabama Huntsville is going to be sat up on the staircase of Art, and that'll be a queen quick 6-0 for Alabama Huntsville. Ole Miss will go down the drain, and unfortunately, they're staring down a hot loaded barrel. Alabama Huntsville, they've got their finger wrapped around the trigger.
This could very much be an so inevitable 3-0 that would not bode well, not only for, being in a group of 3 for LCQ, but map counts, as you said, with head-to-heads and tiebreakers being on the loom in a group this small. Not looking too good for them. Again, series not over yet. Not to have kind of a recency bias and say like, oh, that search was so bad. They still played the respawn well. We're going back to a respawn, so not all hope is lost, but that was not a good search and destroy showing, plain and simple. There was nothing in that search and destroy that showed if this goes to a game 5, Ole Miss might stand a chance. And that's unfortunate because, again, I didn't think that conversation about the adjustment game would pan out the exact way I was shaping it up, but it did, and so I don't really have all that much else to say to it. I said, be willing to make adjustments if you're at a 2-0. Next thing you know, it could be 4-0, and what do you know, we were at 4-0, and still no adjustments. So, I mean, again, preaching to the choir at this point. Not too much else to say from that, apart from, no players could get comfortable. You let Nokia get streaks in the first 2.5 rounds. And after that, it was smooth sailing for him. From there, Ole Miss needed to rebound in a big way here in this map 3.
I'll be completely candid with you here, too. I don't think it was the fact they didn't try to change things up on either side of the coin. I think it just came down to not being able to win gunfights, for being completely honest. It's very hard to be able to win search and destroy rounds when, 2 people aren't able to get kills throughout the entirety of the game until the 6th round, where one of the 2 is able to get on the board with just 2 measly kills. A total kill point of 7 across the 7 from Ole Miss. Gives us now a scoreboard where we see a very stark difference. It was 24-7 on the opposite side. And once again, Frosty wasn't able to get a kill on the board for himself until the very final round when the nail was already in the coffin. They were singing him a song and putting him 6 feet under. So Alabama Huntsville have themselves at a point now where they control the series. They're in the driver's seat. And again, what was the disparity between the 2 teams? I think this conversation is definitely coming to a head now. We're seeing very clearly that open division teams are absolutely capable of not only playing up against, but beating convincingly Division 2 teams.
Absolutely. Like I said, I think the best way to think of it is open division D2, even the same thing D2 to D1, as we'll see some of, those matchups where it could come down to a single map. It could come down to a game 5 that sets you apart on a given weekend, how you should have played COD. So yeah, definitely seeing that the open teams, especially this top cut, as Alabama Huntsville absolutely have come to play tonight. So still could be a lot of series ahead of us. Could be not a lot of series ahead of us if Huntsville come out and close this one out in 3. But excited to see what Ole Miss are looking to bring to the docket as we get back to the respawn.
Yeah, it might not have been anywhere close to a round 11 situation, but we are in the 11th hour here for Ole Miss. It's seeming like we're ever creeping closer to an opportunity of a playoff spot for them being completely shut out. We're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, map 3 of the Alabama Huntsville Ole Miss series will be underway. Well, welcome back. We definitely have a series on our hand, good or bad. We'll let you be the judge of that. Alabama Huntsville up 2-0 on Ole Miss Esports. Again, this is the LCQ for College COD. So there are a lot of storylines, a lot of implications on each and every match, but every single map matters. And I can tell you that with the utmost certainty, as Alabama Huntsville has now had themselves a 2-0 advantage here. Every team is trying to fight for some sort of positioning here, jockeying, if you will, for a top spot out of their little round-robin group of 3 to get one of the 8 regional spots in each of the divisions for a playoff spot inside of the regional playoffs. Fortress was a 250-205 banger that we had in map 1. Really wasn't that big of a deal. Just got close at the end. A 6-0 Fortress in the Search and Destroy is where we are now at an El Asilo control. So at least a change of scenery here for Ole Miss. But one thing remains, Cash. You got to turn the monitor on and start shooting back.
Definitely a good place to start going into map 3, and maybe for them, like you said, a change of scenery is also what the doctor ordered. Asilo, we'll see how that looks to play for them. Again, they didn't play a horrific hard point. It wasn't close up until the end, which is, how you'd rather be, I guess, if you'd rather be, closer at the end than the beginning. But for Ole Miss, the Search and Destroy was near lifeless. And you hope that they, again, come out firing, come out correct in the respawn. You can only hope that for, our entertainment's sake. You can only hope that for the odds of their map counts going into tiebreakers, head-to-heads, everything down the line in this specific group.
Yep.
And for Alabama Huntsville, I mean, plain and simple, they've taken care of business in both of these maps across both of these modes. So they're looking to just close this one out, get out to a good 3-0 in the respective group. And I mean, again, a top team coming out of Open Division, absolutely teeing up here tonight. And for Ole Miss, sure, you finished towards the bottom of Division 2. And yeah, definitely looking like some of those struggles from the regular season are still pertinent.
Look, Cash, we're friends. Whoever's watching on the Twitch channel, we're friends as well. I'm gonna be honest. Alabama Huntsville have not only been the better team of the series, but this is the only mode that they're still undefeated in, and for good reason. Even in the teams that they, and would go on to lose inside of their open division matches, they were still able to take the control and at least force a longer series. So this is going to be a true test here for Ole Miss, who in the mode is 1-9. Inspiring, we know. Scheming on the staircase, 3 in a row for himself. We'll turn all the way back around, do a little 360 just for sport. Hop out over towards B. Nokio going to be able to hop on over towards the site. And as they look to go ahead and get a little bit of progress over on the A zone, dead silence will be popped, and Scheming will look to be on the flank yet again.
First take of progress, A. Already coming in is now defensively. Ole Miss trying to work their way back over. Scheming coming through at least top side balcony. Going to try to collapse down with his teammates, but can you find the kills has been the question. Well, for the last couple of maps, and so far the answer is going to be a maybe. Jamin looks to reload near the side of the box, pops around the corner, looks to pop a 2-piece, and either way, the second take of progress comes in. Yoingi cleans up there, so no kills coming in when you need them for Ole Miss. Alabama Huntsville take this A zone, and now with just under 2 minutes on the clock and a life advantage, look to work their way towards B, where they already have progress going.
I mean, Ole Miss, they had the right idea to go ahead and double challenge out the doorway and onto the last person who was contesting that A zone. The problem is after they jumped out, the second person was like, no, I don't want to go, and just ran back inside, tail tucked between the legs, and let them cap the A zone. Sure, they have a 1 life advantage, but of course, as soon as I say that, the Semtex kill comes on to Frosty, and it's back to 19-19, so we're even with 1:30 left in the round. B zone starting to get, at least the B zone starting to get walked over towards for Alabama Huntsville. They're getting some information and a little bit of map pressure, but Mensa once again trying to be the thorn on the side in the back line, 4-3 here in the game.
On a 3 spree, trying to get some things going, is able to claims the kill on Yoingi. Now tries to get a mid-range gunfight, maybe longer, out of J-Man, and ends up taking it. So 1 away from Streaks. This could be good for Ole Miss to get on the board early and impact the map like this, and finds the kill. So here we go, Streaks on the board, still snapping and frying there, but are the Streaks going to be enough now? Alabama Huntsville look to march their way forward towards this B zone.
Yeah, Ole Miss is going to be in quite the spot here because Alabama Huntsville are already onto the zone. A well-placed trophy could go ahead and spoil the party that Mensa is trying to blow up here. Streak going to be directed towards the middle of the point, finds 2 with it. Scheeman's able to find man, and the last player alive here from Alabama Huntsville is Nokio, who's inside of the middle of the building, will pop dead silence, hip fire shots, won't be able to beat the sub up close and personal. And now Scheeman can start to work his way forward towards the back line. 11-10, the defense has the man advantage by just 1 measly life, and that B zone wasn't able to just get that second tick of progress completed.
Huntsville look to work through mid-map, find a couple of picks here along the fence line. J-Man seeing what he can do, and got between a rock and a hard play. Scheme and Mensa combined for a couple, and with the 3rd kill going down, 30 seconds left. Lives not going to matter as much as the clock here. These next few kills going to be oh so critical for Huntsville to get towards the site.
This little snap there from Nokio. We'll be able to find one in the back line. This is going to be good to get some information. Snap to the spawn side. Oh boy, Mixamp put down Sick Dog style. Yoingi 1v1 up close though for Frosty. Won't be able to win it, but Nokio has stalled the timer out at just about 10.5 seconds. We'll be on the zone trying to get that second tick of progress, and once again Mensa in the back line, still working the flank. 11 kills here in this first round of control, and now can look to Yoingi who's up in the top line. Vaznev, shots are good, 3 kills there, but the tick of progress was almost completed at the B zone. Problem is, it's a 1v7 now.
Ole Miss come out behind the effort of Mensa, Scheeman. Again, the team didn't put up a bad round. You go into it with the potential for Streaks going into the next round on the board as well. And for Huntsville, I mean, plain and simple, you asked Ole Miss to turn on their monitor, start winning some gunfights, and they do. Respawns again, looking to put up a fight, get a good defensive round win on the board, and now look to try to replicate any kind of success that they can on offense. Alabama Huntsville is stalled out, at least in this first round, and look to try to do the same on the opposite side.
Yeah, a very easy adjustment here for Alabama, though. It's going to be able to, just turn around, make sure that, once Mensa gets a 1 or 2 piece in the middle of the map, we just look to the spawn and be able to clear him out immediately. Once we're able to do that, map gets a lot easier and more controllable for yourselves. But Ole Miss, just keep doing the same thing. If they aren't able to turn around for Mensa, just keep having Mensa send pressure after pressure after pressure. But the defense is where we'll get to see Alabama Huntsville's true colors. Mensa, shots, good. Frosty across the map is good for a double as well. Trade back and forth immediately. 2-2 off the board immediately for either team. Now as Zoingy will be up in the top with the AR in hand, looking for the crossover towards the B zone, A and B. Completely clear right now, Alabama Huntsville. Full control of the map.
Ole Miss has been playing it so spread. They played the respawn on Fortress the same way. Search and destroy as well. You get a double child maybe to the second story, but again, they really like to put space around the map, try to win and isolate some of these gunfights. Been going their way a bit more easily in the respawns, I'll give them that. But again, you've had Mensa in the backlines here, unable to find an opening. His teammates are getting picked and pushed back to spawn now. Might have the chance here as he connects for one up top. Going to try to snap around and at least pave a way for his teammates to get out easier.
Makes it a little easier throughout the middle of the map and they can get over towards A, but any shot and hope they had of getting towards that B zone, well, you can kiss it goodbye because Nokia is still in your backline. J-Man looking for a 1v1, plays ring around the Rosie, gets some good timing to the left side and is able to cut down Scheeman. Now as J-Man looks to push forward, staircase, Ole Miss. North side of the mini-map is going to be in their full control at the moment. You can see Zoingy off screen on the plateau, looking over, making sure nobody can get over towards B. First tick of progress today, still looking to be completed.
2 for 1 in the feed, 13 seconds left. 5 life disadvantage, but for Ole Miss, you're just looking to throw bodies at this. 10 seconds left, no time to hit a route, no time to do anything of the sort, but they look to creep up and get over towards this B side. This has to be their last hold. It's got to result in a tight secured.
They'll let J-Man through the backline, though. Will they be able to turn around and read it? Mensa will. Reach Owls all the way back up to 100 HP. Now can go over towards the top window. Pinecone going to be there. Mensa spotted out, but he needs to get back over onto B because this is going to be only about 2 seconds to actually make any progress on the zone. And as everybody falls, Alabama Huntsville makes a quick defensive round, taking theirs. 1-1 we go here in the control tie game back between Ole Miss. Be on defense again.
A bit more convincing of a defense given that you didn't give up 5 ticks of progress, that you were able to take the last go around, held them to I think maybe they got 1 over at the B site, but regardless, as it's been the case the entire series, convincing out of the side of Alabama Huntsville. Ole Miss not quite the same when push comes to shove. I mean, Mensa's at 17-6, but you kind of ask the question, for what? Again, you got the good defensive round 1, but with no progress offensively. If this looks to push the way to a round 5, you need to find a way to make those kills more impactful around the zone. Find a way to get your teammates on it if you can't yourself. Here defensively, no different of a task. Can you control the map the way you did the first round and find a way to set your teammates up for success?
J-Man streak to work with. 6 in a row, 12-7 in the control. Out onto the A zone, they're going to be able to burst through the double doors. 2 HP will just be able to survive. Still a player over towards the radio side, but J-Man repositions himself into a nice spot here. Might just get some good timing. Snap up's going to be good. Frosty will fall. 1 life advantage to the offensive side pushing as the B zone is looking to get that first tick of progress secured. Mensa will be there as well as his teammate scheming, so that will close off the entirety of the B point before that first tick can go through. But however, on the opposite side of the map, the A site will finally get that first bit good.
Yoingi for a couple. Nokia over here in the stack, looking to come in. It's the second tick of progress for A coming in, and Ole Miss really putting emphasis on draining this B site and then working through mid-map to get back across. Mixam doing enough damage to maybe find a kill there, but gonna walk away with nothing. And, well, because of that, 2 minutes on the clock. Alabama Huntsville now get to work over towards B and get another crack to try to capture that whole site.
Mixam gets away with 31 HP, can now re-challenge for a gunfight there. Nokia will get stuck with the Semtex, though. That'll be unfortunate. However, with that extra time here for Alabama Huntsville and the advantage that they have for themselves, they started to scatter around and clear out things over at this B site. And now the middle of the map is going to be theirs. Frosty, a double. That might have just saved the round here for for Ole Miss as they come off the spawn side. The reinforcements were a bit late back over towards B, and instead of stacking, Alabama go for the kills, and it fortunately doesn't pay the price the way they wanted it to, as Ole Miss has now gotten themselves back in the round and the controlling of a few key points on the map.
This top patio is so important. You get the trades through the back line, so you keep that safe and sound, and like you said, you go hunting for kills. You need to find a way to get out of spawn and look to get some of these players taken out of these power positions. You're working up field side, you're finding a couple kills to go along with it, but Frosty here in this top window on a 4 spree. Again, a couple more kills. If you can't get him out, he could still make an impactful move around the map. First tick looking to come in through a quick stack, Yoingi box side. Frosty trying not to lose a streak, but trying to also find a way to get his team towards this site and get these players cleared off. Scheming wins another big gunfight, but progress still being earned for Alabama.
Yoengi. Shots out to the left. Gunfight challenge good. Scheming now looking for the 1v1, but Yoengi will hop back up again. 4 in a row. Pinecone, J-Man, everybody stacked. Tries to get the last second contestant on the hill, but Ole Miss won't be able to get it through. An offense after a defensive round will give Alabama back-to-back rounds for a 2-1 lead over Ole Miss. They're not only on match point here, but they're on series point as well.
It's a great round for them to take. Again, they didn't take their offense the last time. They make the adjustments they need to, which is, fighting it more and taking those team fights. Trusting themselves to win the 1v1s they need to around the site. And for Ole Miss, you simply couldn't hold a stout. Wasn't all that much more time on the clock per se, but again, when Huntsville's made the changes, it's panned out generally in their favor. And for Ole Miss, backs against the wall, like you had said, they need to rip off 2 straight rounds here in order to get this one. And even all 6 points of progress is not going to give them defense. They're locked in for 2 offenses in a row, and the way Alabama Huntsville have been playing defensively, this is not going to be an easy task.
Pinecone 1v1 for radio control. He'll be able to find it. Scheming unfortunately drops, goes for the second. That's all 4 down. Now Alabama Huntsville, they recognize this, and everybody starts to leap forward towards the right side of the map. They want to be able to spawn trap out, Ole Miss. That's exactly what they've been able to do. 2 kills, now making a third. J-Man in and from behind. Staircase shots from Mensah are going to be good, but unfortunately that's only going to get him about halfway across the map before he stalled out. Can't really get over towards the A or the B point either. A locked down. They're going to try an offensive push here over on B. They're going to step on the progressive zone for just a moment, but Yoengi will get knocked out of the window. J-Man the next one up to challenge. He's able to find one, but it's traded out. 3-1 trade is good. Should start to stack here, and it should be at least 2 ticks.
Yeah, if they can look to stack this, it definitely could be that secondary progress. I think they could end up getting the whole thing, but you send Mensah out ahead to try to find a couple of these kills. An unfortunate nade over the top, and 3 more go in tow. Now J-Man sitting in the streak for good measure. Able to find one coming right off spawn. I mean, that could have been better timed. Cruise missile just to get one off spawn, and that could have been the tail of the entire series.
Did a twist with it, too. Able to make it stick in the spawn side, but Menz is also making it stick in the opposite side of spawns of the offense. A-zone. Touch. 22 seconds left in the round here as the clock is stalled out. Pinecone should have had the 1v1 there. Unfortunately, the shot's just above the head as the drop shot was good. Yoengi doesn't snap over to the right. Scheming gets the timing, and all of a sudden, the A and the B zones are being taken care of at the same time. Second tick of progress at B. Good. Looking for the last one now. Frosty still in the corner as Nokia went for the challenge, and although it's a 6-life lead, the B zone should be able to be progressed here as nobody's going to be close. It's a 1v1 off screen that goes the way of Frosty, and the round has all of a sudden changed pace.
Absolutely changed complexion here as B is captured and you're working the second tick over at A. Just under 90 seconds on the clock, but you go 3 down, and that could put the lives back. In fact, they're all 4 down, doubled up in lives for Alabama Huntsville. Now they just need to get forward, find a couple more waves.
Win that first gunfight there on the point for Ole Miss. And maybe, just maybe, you're looking at yourself that second tick of progress, a much fresher outlook, but now it's only one considerate and concise team hit that's left alive, and Nokia once again has earned streak. Second one up to challenge. Mensah, hello, put down into the dirt. 4 lives remaining here for Ole Miss. 15 from Alabama. 48 seconds left of the round. Time is not the issue right now. It's all going to come down to these gunfights around the map, and Yoengi will be able to take the first. Nokia, who's on 7 in a row, will turn all the way back around. J-Man gets some information on one that runs through. Frosty will fall. 2 lives remaining. Mixamp, Mensah. Mixamp still trying to retaliate from what happened in the search and destroy. 0 kills. Donut. Unfortunate. And once again, won't be able to walk away with 1. Mensah, the last one alive, the only one that's been able to really have some sort of saying for Ole Miss. Alabama Huntsville will shut the door, close out the series. The Open Division team will start off 1-0 in the round robin here in the LCQ.
In convincing fashion, I might add. Again, as this game continued to progress, as the series did, Alabama looked more and more comfortable against the squad. And I think you'd really summarize it best after the hard point, but you want to watch the full series and see if that statement rings true. The slaying clobber they were able to put on Ole Miss from the start is just something I don't think that and again, you touched on it in the surge. It's just something that Ole Miss wasn't able to overcome. They were outslayed marginally in the hard point, drastically outslayed in the search and destroy, and here it doesn't look to be any different of a case. Again, you let someone get a hot hand and you couldn't find a way to slow them down. For Ole Miss, regular season woes continuing to ring true here. You get off on about the worst foot you could inside of this group stage of the LCQ. and now have to try to battle your way back with map count working against you. But again, just an impressive showing out of a top cut open division team where, again, even coming tonight, again, I keep saying how many things you've really just nailed tonight, but you wondered coming into it, do these open division teams have anything to show for themselves, have anything to say? And the answer is absolutely.
110% too. And again, I didn't really like have the differential in power ranking between like the top end of open division and the bottom end of D2 being extremely separated by like a strong margin. You know, a lot of people will say like open division, oh, that's the terrible division in college COD. That's the worst thing you could possibly be in. It's like, realistically, no, you still have a chance to qualify if you're at the top of D2, or I mean, at the top of open division. Might be a little more difficult against some of the D2 teams that have fallen down or having, you know, rough patches in the season or really starting to turn it back around. But that's why the LCQ exists. And, you know, there's still another team inside of this division that will be fighting for the top spot. So although, yes, Alabama has started out with a nice 3-0, a 1-0 lead inside of the round robins, and now Ole Miss has knocked down a peg, that doesn't necessarily mean that Ole Miss still doesn't have a chance. It doesn't mean that the third tertiary team won't be able to have a chance inside of this division to be able to get that coveted playoff spot. Alabama Huntsville are in the driver's seat right now, and if they win their next series, it's all but, you know, destined to be for them. But regardless, you know, controlling your destiny sometimes might not always be something that a team is able to take the full advantage of. Now, Alabama Huntsville, although they did look very good in the series, still need to close things out in another best of 5 against the last team inside of their division, though. But I guess we'll talk about, you know, kind of the two outstanding players, at least for me in the series. Yoingy Zoingy in the respawns, Nokio inside of the search and destroy, and J-Man was, you know, just that third guy who was always pounding it to Ole Miss throughout the series. Chef's kiss to Alabama Huntsville. There's not much better that you can do than 3-0 D2 team in the first real showing in your college COD season.
Absolutely the case. Couldn't have said it better myself. Again, I've said it the whole regular season where you want to start hitting stride. You want to start showing that upward trajectory at the tail end of the season. And again, this team never showed a downtick, right? I mean, they finished the season 10-1, so we can't forget how well they did this regular season.
Sure.
But you really want to be putting on performances this good at this point in the season. And again, it was a convincing 3-0. You know, there's only so many ways you can give that statement, but the search and destroy looked amazing out of them. The control, I mean, again, a team winning a defense feels like a given at times on a CeeLo, and Ole Miss did play a good round there, but like you had said, not only in their group stage going out after this, but really trying they're in the driver's seat. They're in control of their fate in this group, it feels like, if they continue playing like they have. Again, we don't know what this third team is quite going to bring to the table just yet, but if they play their game, I mean, they've got to be feeling more confident than anyone, right, that they have a very, very realistic chance to look to come out of this group.
Absolutely. Well, Ole Miss will certainly be hurting after that. Alabama Huntsville, they're going to be walking away with smiles on their faces, knowing that one more best of 5 will lock them into the regional playoffs for the college COD season, and that's really the end goal for a lot of teams, especially with Northwood and some of those other teams being at the very, very top. Being able to not only make it into the playoffs, but place well in those playoffs is really what a lot of teams are out looking on the year. Remember, you got to remember, a lot of these colleges have, you know, just a couple guys that come together, and they're like, you know what, let's play some COD. Let's have some fun. Let's do whatever for a whole season. It's exactly what Alabama Huntsville was able to do. Just a few people looking to have a good time playing college COD. Before we send things to a break, once again, thank you so much to America's Navy as well as Fandom for being the partners and sponsors here for college COD. A big reason we're able to have the production value and the season scale that we do. For America's Navy, you know, if you're looking for a higher education at high school or whatnot, the Navy offers more than 60 career fields in leading edge areas such as nuclear engineering, special warfare, cryptology, information systems, healthcare, and the list continues to go on and on and on. There's so many major bases that the American Navy has around you know, the world. And you can go ahead and take those opportunities to not only support America's Navy, but also get yourselves a first-class ticket to a nice travel destination that you might have always wanted to visit to at their expense as well, which is always great. Nice little trip for yourself. Anyways, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we've got our next matchup going up for Rochester Institute of Technology up against Army West Point. Should be a fun one. Interstate matchup, as Cash was alluding me to earlier. So don't go too far. College COD will be back.